Well, hello, football fans, and welcome to the NFL version of Proline. It's Week 5. I'm John Cranton, joined by Harvard Barnhart and Zach Simony, live from Las Vegas. Going to take a look at some of the NFL games for the weekend. All three of us are doing better. Well, we're doing better than Calvin Johnson last night, and we're going to start the program with some bonehead plays of the week. Harvard, what did you see out there that drove you insane?
Well, actually, one of the, just because it's a bonehead play doesn't mean I didn't profit from it. Speaking of that last Thursday night, those are the best kind. When Pittsburgh was playing Baltimore, and we had Josh Scobie, and Baltimore was completely out of it. I think the score was like 20-3 or 20-6 or 7 or whatever, and all of a sudden Josh Scobie starts missing field goals. He missed a couple of them early, and then all of a sudden that forced the hand of the coach, Tomlin. What do we do on fourth down? My gosh, I can't, should I run it? Should I keep it? We can't put him back there to kick a field goal. He's already missed 2. And, when they had that before Baltimore ended up winning, there was a 99.82% probability of Pittsburgh winning on that fourth down, after that fourth down try. And they still ended up losing. So there's a bonehead play somewhere between Josh Scobie and Coach Tomlin. They do have a new field goal kicker now, I believe. And the other game, which drove me crazy because I had Cleveland on the money line at plus 230. And here Cleveland is playing San Diego. They've had 5 score changes. They've had 3 ties. Cleveland rallies down 8 points. They're down 8 points with just a couple minutes to go. They score. They convert the 2. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And all of a sudden, Josh Lambo, he gets this stupid little field goal to try, 39 yards. He's a rookie, and they're going to freeze him. They're going to put some heat on him and everything, and it's up, and it's wide right, and here comes the flag. Trayman Williams, how can you go offside to do what you got to? Do you realize that you traveled 3,000 miles? You played the best game I've seen you guys play since 1999. In fact, 1999, they've had 41 times that they've blown a game in the last minute. 41 times since 1990. Well, make that 42. Trayman Williams, you should be shot, because then Josh got to line it up from 34 yards, and the kick was good, and you got that long trip home, losing 30-27. And then the last one, the Jacksonville-Indianapolis game, Jason Myers, my gosh. You had a 53-yarder with 6 seconds left, wide right. Up! But guess who called timeout? Indianapolis called timeout, so we get a do-over play. Wide right again. Don't you correct those things on the field? So they go to overtime. He gets another shot at it. Whoop, he did correct it. Wide left. So, guys, that's my 3 bonehead plays. It seems like a lot of kickers are getting a lot of pressure. And in order to balance the bonehead plays with something, I would like to go on the positive side and say congratulations to the entire NFL. There was not one NFL player arrested during the month of September. And I'm sure that everybody's excited about that. Zach, what did you see over the weekend?
Hey, I have one more to add on to that. The animation of the analysis there was superb, Hollis. But so I'm going to the sports book to watch the games at 10 o'clock, and of course people were betting on the London game, Miami versus the Jets. And we talked about the overs hitting on these NFL Europe games over the last 5-10 years. And when we talked about it last Tuesday, it was out at 41. Of course, it went up to 43.5, and it's stuck on 41 with Miami inside the 5-yard line. A couple of times, right? Ryan Tannehill threw a pick to Darrelle Revis, and then the other time they get down there, and I think they just stalled or something like that. But the people in the sports books were pretty animated, just as Hollis was describing there, because everybody was on that over, and that's what happens. People get stuck on these key numbers and key trends, which I'm not really a trend handicapper, but those trends don't work out. You got different players, different personnel, different teams. It's good to look at them. Good to look at the numbers, but they're not going to always come out.
Yeah, it was quite a weekend for bonehead plays, and I'm going to have to go with Calvin Johnson, because I know all the talk is about how Detroit got robbed, but Johnson was the one that really stands out to me, because as Bill Belichick says, do your job to every individual player. Well, what's his job when he's being tackled at the 2-yard line? you hold on to the ball with two hands. If you get tackled at the 2 or the 1, well, your team is still in good shape, first and goal at the 1 with a chance to win the game. What is his thinking? I'm going to stretch. I want to be the hero. I want to be on Sports Center. I want to be interviewed after the game as the hero. And he deserved to have that ball. That was just a fantastic play by Cam Chandler. But what a terrible play by Calvin Johnson, trying to do too much and not thinking up here.
Didn't Des Bryant do that last year in the playoffs? And that's he was going across the goal line when they were playing at Green Bay, and the ball bounced.
That's right, too, yes. Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
No.
Your job is to possession of the ball first, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, try to score, but...
Yeah. All right, we got 3 games to talk about. First, let's tell you what we did for the weekend. Hollis, congratulations on your pair of top 10-star plays. You had the Florida Gators and Washington. That brings you to a sizzling 10-2 record for the season. How can folks get aboard this week?
Well, going back to last week, I had suffered my first loss. I'm undefeated in colleges for the entire year of the 12 games that I've played, and I had one NFL loss. So I thought, you know what? Why don't we celebrate that? I was 8-2 at the time. I said, why don't we make 2 for 1? So I was going to give you the winner in the Florida game, which I did, 10-star play. They were underdog, won straight up, and then gave you a free play on the Washington-Philadelphia play, which was a 10-star play. NFC game of the month. Washington won. They defeated Philadelphia. So there was 2 underdogs, one straight up. And you know what? I tell you what, so many people like to get both of those plays on Saturday with that one click. I'm going to do the same thing, the same offer. On Saturday in the colleges, I have my conference game of the year. It should be one of the best, easiest plays that you've seen. And then Sunday, coming back, I have my divisional game of the year. And both of them, I like the lineup. There's one that has just an overflated line, and I think you guys will enjoy this. So make sure you go to jimfeist.com, click on that little Harvard button, and you'll get 2 plays for the price of 1. The conference game of the year Saturday and my divisional game on Sunday.
All right, and Zach, you have winning records in both the NFL and college football, including 65% in the NFL. And on last week's show, you thought that Monday Night Lions was an overreaction. Easy cover there at Detroit.
Yeah, it was just one of those scenarios where the line and the double-digit line was just too much. They had covered that line against the Bears the week earlier without Jay Cutler in there, and that was a big factor. I think Matthew Stafford played as good as he could against that Seattle defense. They had some chances earlier in the game where they stalled at midfield and they lost the game, but I'll take 10-10.5 anytime with that type of game with the way that Seattle offense is looking. And just the way it turned out there.
All right, and if you want to get on Jim Feist's 5-play countdown, last week it went 4-1, 80%. He has another one going. You get 3 Saturday college games, 2 NFL plays at a special rate, just $25, 1-855-846-7426. All right, let's get into one of these Sunday NFL games. You got the Seattle Seahawks off that Monday night win against the Cincinnati Bengals. Early line here. Bengals 2 with a total of 44. Clearly, you have 2 of the best defenses in the NFL meeting up. Both teams playing very well. Seattle now 2 straight wins, and Cincinnati undefeated on the year. The thing about the Seattle team is offensive line, though, has some major problems. Great defense, but Harvard offensive line is bad. 18 sacks on Wilson. The running game hasn't quite got going. Plus, if you like situational handicapping, off a Monday night game now heading out on the road.
Well, I like the 4 forms of situation, technical, statistical, emotional. Some of them have 1, some of them have utilized 2 or 3, but this is definitely situational. First of all, Seattle on the road 0-2. One reason they're 0-2 on the road is because they have a mediocre quarterback. He might have a big salary, he might have a big name, but he's still mediocre at best. Russell Wilson, I'm telling you right now, you can't win on the road with an average quarterback. So it's just not me saying it. If you back it up, anytime you want to look at who's good and who's not, throw out the home records. Anybody can win at home and see what they do on the road. Curse, Baldwin, their average wide receivers. I don't have much more to say. I mean, everybody knows Seattle's got their, pretty good defense. But you know what? I even think they lost something when Dan Quinn left and went down to Atlanta. The whole team, they're a good team, but they're going to have to readjust on some certain things and get that chemistry back. And I think they're on the way back. But now they're going into Cincinnati, and, it might just be bad timing there. That's why it's such a good situational play for me this week. Cincinnati, what I say to do is just go right to the sports book and find a Super Bowl futures ticket on Cincinnati at this time. I don't think you're going to, I think you'll be in every single game all the way down through the playoffs and enjoy that ticket. Dalton, he's an animal. And why? Because he's surrounding himself and finally figuring out how to use his cast of characters. AJ Green, everybody knows what he does. He's using his tight end correctly this time. He's got 2 running backs in Hill and Bernard. Bernard, he's getting you 5+ per game, per carry. They got an all-pro defense, which, I love this defense. They had them a couple years ago for 2 or 3 years, and then somewhere they disappeared last year, but they're back. Pac-Man Jones, Reggie Nelson, and the number one thing that we look for out here, this Cincinnati is against the spread covering machine. 17-5-1. I like to back a team that not only knows how to win, that's undefeated, that's playing at home, and knows how to cover a point spread. I don't want to figure out why. I'm just going to lay the 2.
All right, yeah, the Cincinnati defense has been dominant for much of the last 5 years. Last year was a down year because of injuries, and one of their key players left, but he is back. So this Bengals team is just doing everything right now. They deserve to be undefeated at 4-0. Balanced offense. Dalton 9 touchdown, 1 picks. They're 4th in the NFL in scoring, just over 30 points per game. Very impressive win over Kansas City, 36-21. They were 6 of 9 on 3rd down. They've got the balance on offense. As Harvard mentioned, they're covering these games at home, 17-5-1 against the spread. So, Zach, people have dumped on Marvin Lewis for his late season falls the last couple of years. Maybe he deserves a little bit more credit.
No, he's been an excellent coach, and I was actually heard on the radio how Cincinnati is the #1 team in football from a personnel standpoint with the players that they've drafted and built in-house. So that was one of the things where they've really ramped up the scouting department, and they're right up there with Green Bay with on-field talent that they've developed in-house, which is always key. You can't keep getting players from free agency and spending money. You know, they got Jeremy Hill, they drafted Giovanni Bernard, they drafted AJ Green, they drafted Mohamed Sanu, they drafted all this talent. Andy Dalton, they drafted. So these players are all coming together. It's like college football or college basketball. 3rd, 4th year, they're all together before their contracts get renewed, and they're starting to develop and look good on the field. With that being said, I'm not sure I'm ready to back them against this Seattle team. I know I've harped on Seattle all season long as being a little bit overrated against the spread, where you put them in a dog situation against a team like Cincinnati. They've had some great wins. Well, let's flash back to last time they played a true team in the regular season, the New England Patriots, and they got destroyed. And I don't think they're ready for it, especially on defense. The last couple of weeks, actually 3 weeks in a row, they won with the offense being the catalyst, not the defense. Defense has given up way too many big plays. And you're playing against quarterbacks that can't improvise either. Phillip Rivers, Joe Flacco, and last week Alex Smith. Now you put Russell Wilson back there where he can improvise, do his thing. Not much film on him from the Bengals defense. He's going to be able to hit those dink and dumps, maybe get Marshawn Lynch back. And I think that defense rises to the occasion, and we see the old Andy Dalton right before Halloween get his mask back on. Seattle Seahawks get the win.
Very interesting. 2 differing viewpoints here. And I'm not going to be the judge here. I'm actually going to take a look at the total, because Seattle's offense, 26th in passing, 6th in rushing. I do like this Cincinnati defensive line to contain the run. And then I can't avoid the Seattle offensive line, 18 sacks on Wilson. He's just having a difficult time. No Marshawn Lynch, and even if he was in there, I wonder how much improved this running game would be. And that's really what they do, is to run the football. Meanwhile, you got a Bengals team that is playing well on both sides of the ball. 8-5 run under the total. And after Cincinnati scores 30 or more points, they're 22-5-1 under the total. I was hoping for some bad weather this weekend. Not going to be the case. Going to be sunny in Cincinnati, but still with these defenses, I will play under the total in this one.